Oh, you might want to lean back a little bit, otherwise your head's gonna.
Oh, can you do something about that?
No, it has to be that. Good morning, everybody, or a good day for wherever you are in the world.
Welcome to KENSHOQUEST. I'm Heidi.
I'm George.
Here on KENSHOQUEST, we share tips to help you plan an amazing trip to Japan. We've been traveling to Japan together for the past 21 years, and George was going to Japan even before that. So we share our tips
Sorry.
based upon real-world experience. There was a little echo there. Can you let us know in the chat box if you can hear us clearly? This is going to be a live Q&A answering your questions about Japan travel. It will be recorded and available on our KENSHOQUEST channel to watch afterwards. If you're here live, please leave your comments and questions in the chat box. If you're doing a question, can you just start it with a Q so we know that it's a question? Because sometimes people are just responding to each other in the chat box. So label it Q if you're asking a question. If we don't get around to your question during the live, then please leave it on any of our videos on our channel and we'll try to get back to you there. So do you want to kick it off with some of the questions we received before the live started?
Yes, let me try to find some of these really quick here. So let's see here. Okay, from D, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world again. Let's see, your question is, in your hacks video, do you buy and label your box at the Yamato Transport at NRT, Narita, and just hand it to them at the airport counter? So you can certainly do that. You can do all of that there if you wanted to, but we like to do it ahead of time just because we can arrange everything in our room and stuff. And then as far as the label goes, we do write our name and address on the box, even though it's not even really necessary, because they're just going to stick, you know, that sticker, that airline sticker like LAX or wherever you're heading to on the box. But it's always good to put your address on it as well. We don't really do anything else other than that, right?
No, and we just usually get the box ahead of time from a Yamato Transport office because I like to have time to pack and arrange the box neatly.
Okay, next question is from the Nadal family. Now this question is about transporting. How does one transport medication through customs that needs to be cooled or refrigerated? Honestly, we really don't know the answer to that question, and we don't want to give you any type of misinformation. One thing you might want to do though is check your U.S. consulate. I mean, not U.S.
It
but
depends. If you're from the U.S., then it would be TSA, and even there's like a Ask TSA on Facebook where you can put questions in there because there are exceptions for medically necessary things. So if you need something like frozen ice packs, what wouldn't usually be allowed through security because it's a liquid might be allowed if it's in combination with something that's medically necessary. So if you are from the US and flying out of the US, try to do something like Ask TSA to ask them directly and make sure you get the accurate information because we've never done that ourselves.
Yeah, so sorry. All right. Hi, Candy. Aloha, Heidi. So I'll leave this for you, Heidi. If you were an older woman, would you try a public onsen at your hotel for a once-in-a-lifetime experience?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that at the hotel. I mean, I've gone one time to the more traditional type of onsen where men and women separate. I think we went with a group of our friends. So I did have a Japanese friend along that I could kind of follow along and see what to do. I mean, there's usually a locker room where you change and leave your stuff. And then there's the showers where you completely clean yourself. And then you go into the onsen. So, I mean, it's a little bit outside of the comfort zone if you're not used to, not getting to wear swimwear. But I have done it and I would do it again. We also do like staying in a place where we have like a private onsen that just our family can use because that can be a little bit more comfortable of a setting. But yeah, I think it's worth trying.
I know you're asking Heidi, but I would say absolutely do it. Absolutely do it.
And in Japan, it's very common for, like, say, a group of women to go on a girls' trip, a ladies' trip, and go to places like an onsen town. So within the culture, they're used to that's the kind of thing that you would like do with a group of friends.
From Katsumoto. Hello, I am a fan of yours from, wow, 920 to 923. I am accompanying an elder who can't walk long distances. It is their first time to Hokkaido at the Sapporo Grand Hotel. What tour in English is best? Ooh.
Oh, we don't have a specific tour suggestion. We've done one video that was an itinerary for Hokkaido that included Sapporo, Otaru, and Asahikawa, but just for within There's a Sapporo, like Visit Sapporo tourism website that has some good recommendations of like walking tours, but you may want to rent a wheelchair, could be a possibility to make that easier. Let me see if I can find that website for you real quick.
Yeah, I would check also Sapporo Station. They have quite a huge array of stuff there for tourists that can help you out. And usually renting, if you do need a wheelchair, that's usually possible. And as far as looking for hotels too, I would also ask your hotel. But Sapporo Station, which I'm sure you're going to go through, they have a huge tourist information center, and they'll be able to help you out there.
I just dropped the link in the chat box for that Visit Sapporo website. They have a lot of good suggestions, like suggested walking tours. As far as a guide, we've never hired a guide in Sapporo.
From VLE44, I know this was asked before, but I want to update myself. Is it customary to tip at a restaurant, the hotel maid, taxi driver for good service? Please don't.
No, tipping is not customary in Japan, so any of those situations, also I've heard hairdressers don't tip. No need to tip at restaurants.
Right. And the reason for this, it's cultural. So even if you feel like you want to tip them, they're most likely going to say no. But if you ask a Japanese person, they'll say, please don't do that, because what you're going to do is you're going to start setting a precedence. And then, pretty soon, maybe the Japanese is going to feel like they're going to have to tip. So they don't want to tip. That's not part of their culture. So you will see it in some places now. I've seen it for the first time in my life this past year. In certain very touristy areas, I've seen tip jars. But even that, you don't have to. Okay, never feel like you need to, because it's not customary, not part of the culture. And I personally would not do it.
The only situation I've heard of tipping in is like if you hire a private guide who's going to show you around for the day. Sometimes those are foreigners, sometimes they're local Japanese, but you can offer them a tip, or you might want to bring some kind of small little gift from your country you're coming from to offer them. So like a private tour guide is really the only situation I've heard of tipping. Or again, if the restaurant has a tipping jar, but in general, no tips in Japan.
From Luis, I'm going in October, 10 days. Do I need a visa? This depends on which country you're coming from. Japan has agreements with, I believe, about 90 countries that you don't require a visa. So if you are coming from the United States, you absolutely do not. Most Western nations, I would say, do not. And a lot of countries get 90 days, what do you call that? Like a social visit pass automatically. So please check your embassy
For your
website.
nationality,
yeah, that's the best way to know. Right. From Susanna, when I purchase something with tax-free, can I open it in Japan?
You're not supposed to. So part of the idea is getting it tax-free without paying the consumption tax is that it's an item you're going to take home with you. So it's supposed to stay closed, packaged until you take it home, and then you open it and use it in your home country. So for any items that you want to use while you're in Japan, like if you're getting beauty products or clothes that you want to use in Japan, then those you should pay the consumption tax on them when you purchase them.
Yeah. They're starting to get more strict on this, but mainly they changed the laws recently now, and you can't even ship anything out of Japan and get tax-free. And pretty soon what they're actually going to do, and this might be implemented sometime later this year, is that anything that you purchase tax-free, you actually won't get the refund right there. You're going to get the refund after you go through customs at the airport.
So which will really preventing people from...
Yeah. They just want to be more in line with a lot of other nations. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of fraud, so...
Yeah, they don't want people buying stuff tax-free and then reselling it within Japan. It's meant to take out of Japan.
From Felix Gatto, hello, how do you deal with jet lag?
Jet lag is no fun, and with young kids, they tend to just wake us up and get us on a really bad schedule. But if you can, when you arrive in Japan, you must adjust the local time. So if you get there and it's not yet bedtime, but you're tired, you need to force yourself to stay up. Really good things can be going outside, grounding, take your shoes off and walk in some grass, walk on some dirt, and make sure you stay up until it's the time that you would normally go to sleep, whatever your bedtime is. And then also try to get up at your regular time. But for a lot of people, say coming from the US, you're probably going to wake up super early the first morning in Japan. You might be waking up at 4 in the morning. So what I would do is any of the tourist attractions that get super crowded and super busy later in the morning is plan that for like first thing your first morning there. So going somewhere like Sensoji Temple, because if your body's going to wake up early anyways, you might as well get there at 5 or 6 a.m. before the crowds get there. But I mean, jet lag's difficult. It usually takes our bodies about 2 weeks to adjust fully, and that's about the amount of time most people spend in Japan. So you'll be on Japan time just in time to head home.
Right. I just want to reiterate what Heidi said. So really stay up. First of all, when you get there, I highly recommend that you take your shoes off, take your socks off, and walk on the ground. The grounding thing really helps for some people. Definitely helps for us. And then again, like Heidi said, really the best thing to do is the following morning, since you're going to be up anyways, get up. Yes, a lot of things will be closed, but temples, you can usually enter temples and walk around, and it's just going to be amazing because there's going to be only locals walking their dogs and stuff. And you're going to see the difference because when you go later in the day, there's going to be a million people there, and so take advantage of having jet lag and get up and go out.
Places like temples, shrines, parks, you can visit those. Somebody commented that restaurants won't be open super early, so you might want to just pick something up from like a convenience store.
Which will be open. Usually they're open 24/7. So. Okay, from Eggy J16, I'm going in 1 week. What's the best way to get from Kyoto to Osaka? Family of 4. Can I do the same day last minute train? If you're just going from Kyoto to Osaka, that's no problem. There's multiple trains. You can take a limited express train. You can take a Shinkansen. You can take a local train. They'll all leave right at a Kyoto station. You don't need to reserve any of that in advance because those are very, very often. So if you take the Shinkansen, it's going to take you 12 minutes. If you want to take a limited...
There's a rapid train.
You can take like a rapid train, yeah, or those can take 20 to 30 minutes, and the local trains will just take a little bit more. So it just depends on how quickly you want to get there. But it's pretty easy to do.
And you don't need to spend the money for a Shinkansen.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother
that short distance.
Yeah, even the express train, I wouldn't take a rapid, or even I would just take the local train, honestly. But that's completely up to you. From Shadowflyer Jadis, sorry if I'm butchering your names, you guys. Is it really that hot in Japan in summer? I live in Virginia, US, with 80 to 100 Fahrenheit, 40 to 60 humidity. For reference, I got overheated easily. So is Marino worth it in the dead of summer? Yes, we're both wearing Marino right now.
Yeah, our Unbound here. So the humidity might be even higher. So I've heard from people so far this summer that it was like a super hot summer. And I've also been checking the weather app. I like to keep tabs. It's been hot, and then the humidity, you're used to some humidity, but it can be even higher, like 85% humidity, where it's just like the sweat can't even evaporate because the air is just as wet as you are. So when people look at the temperature range to get an idea of what the temperature is going to be, and we do have a video on typical weather in Tokyo, it can be misleading because you can see, oh, like 85 is not bad. But then when you add in like 85% humidity at the same time, it can feel really hot. So yes, in Japan in summer, you need to prepare in whatever way you can, like with fans, staying hydrated, electrolytes. I like to wear a hat and use a sun parasol. And then the stores sell a bunch of cooling items. They sell like rings you can wear around your neck, cooling towels, fans. There'll be like a whole summer cooling down section in the department stores there and convenience stores. And we personally do like merino wool. We travel a lot in Southeast Asia, and just being in a lot of that hot, humid climates, that's what I've learned to like, because cotton t-shirts, they'll like get all sweaty and wet, and then you're wearing a wet shirt around, whereas the merino wool does a lot better job drying really quickly. Also, if you get like sprayed with water at an amusement park or something, the wool will dry off faster than cotton clothes will.
But I just wanted to add, on a positive note, you are from Virginia, so you're way more prepared than somebody coming from California. So you're going to be okay. Okay, hi Nate. Yep, I am going in November for the first time with 5 people. I'm finding it very expensive to find accommodations for 5, as most hotels only accommodate 2. Airbnbs seem to be far from the Yamato line. We feel you. We totally feel you. We're a family of 5 as well. We do run into this issue. I would look for hotels such as My Stays or Art Hotel, also Mimaru, hotels like that. You can check out our Expedia shop. We try to list a lot of things that can fit family of 5, since we're one as well. And but yeah, it can be hard. But as far as if you're going to look for an Airbnb, don't worry about the Yamanote line. There's tons of other train lines out there that many Airbnbs are near. So if you want to tell me like what areas you're looking for, I can tell you like whether or not, there's going to be a good train line to get around. But in general, I wouldn't worry about being worried about the Yamanote line. It's not necessarily the best line to be using in Tokyo anyways. So there's a lot of options out there. Just be near a station, I would say.
And those Mimaru ones, they're kind of like an apartment where they might have a little kitchenette, a lot more space, because hotel rooms in Japan tend to be really small. So those are a little more spread out, like apartment style.
Yeah. But if you were looking for the more cost-effective look at my stays, again, the unfortunate thing is they sell the larger rooms do sell out quickly. But you know, there's plenty of my stays in the Tokyo area. So
Those are
yeah,
the ones
look.
that tend to have three beds in one bedroom, so we can fit a whole family. It's always a bummer when we have to split our family between two separate rooms. If you are looking for hotels, I put the link to our Expedia travel shop into the chat box. We really appreciate when you book through there. We earn commissions that way.
And speaking of Mimaru, hi Natalie, we are staying at the Mimaru Tokyo Station East near Tokyo Station. How does that location compare to the Shinjuku area you recommended in your last video? So it really depends on what you're going to do in the city. Staying near Tokyo Station is one of our favorite places, and we love to stay in that area. And to me, you can't go wrong by staying near Tokyo Station, especially if you're planning trips to anywhere that's going to take a Shinkansen, because that is a major hub for taking any Shinkansen to places like Kyoto, Osaka, or anywhere north, you know, to the Kanazawa area, anywhere. So it's great for that, but it's also really good located because it's near Asakusa, you know, like Sensoji Temple. You can get to Tokyo Disney easily there as well. So the reason why we mentioned Shinjuku, why we also really like Shinjuku, is a lot of people are going to Mount Fuji. And if you're going to Mount Fuji, you cannot beat being in Shinjuku for that, because that's the major hub to get to the Mount Fuji and also the Hakone area.
Yeah, but your location's really good too. Even Tokyo Station has so much in it. Like if you want to go eat, there's tons of restaurants in there. There's tons of shopping within the station.
Hi, Christy. I plan to go to Japan next year with my partner, but we want to travel further away. We plan to go to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Nikko, Nagoya. What is the best rail pass for this?
I think the only pass that would cover that is the whole Japan Rail Pass, the JR Pass. And now that the prices have gone up considerably on that, you might want to use a calculator to see if it's even worth it, because with the whole Japan Rail Pass, you need to be going to a new city pretty much every day to make the cost worth it. Otherwise, you can just buy individual single journey Shinkansen tickets, and we have videos on both those options on our channel. I can try to find our video on calculating whether or not it's worth it.
Hi, Konshu66. Thank you for the super chat. We have 2.5 hours of space between landing in Narita and making a domestic connection to Fukuoka. Is that enough time to clear customs, grab bags, and make it to our domestic flight? I'm just wondering, when you purchase your ticket, if you purchase it all the way through to Fukuoka, then you will have no problem because you won't even need to collect your bags. So again, that is if when you purchase your ticket, if it was through to Fukuoka, you will not need to collect your bags, and that 2.5 hours will be plenty of time. But in general, yes, you should have enough time. The most important thing I can say is please, please, please fill out Visit Japan Web ahead of time and make sure you get your QR codes, because if you don't do this, it's not required, and some people just don't want to fill out the paperwork ahead of time. That's fine, but it's going to save you some time, because if you do this, you won't have to fill out any paperwork, and it could save you 15-20 minutes at the airport, which could be very valuable when you're making a connection flight. But in general, you should be fine at 2.5 hours. Just be as efficient as possible and be prepared for anything you need to do. You got anything to add on that, Heidi? Because I know that's always a tough one.
Maybe pack light, don't have too many checked suitcases if you do have separate flights and need to collect all that.
Okay, Luis, so yes, you're from the US, no problem. You don't need a visa.
90 days visa free for US citizens.
Hi, Dobry. For a family of 5, how much cash do you recommend keeping on a day-to-day basis? Are you withdrawing a large amount once you carry it around for your whole trip, or are you doing more regular ATM visits?
So we have a couple videos that go into this. We have a video on exactly how to use a 7-bank ATM in Japan, and then I also did one on how to pay in Japan. So basically, our family pays for most things with our credit card, and because of that, we don't need a whole lot of cash. There's certain circumstances you might need cash, such as a small family-owned restaurant, or if you're going to food stalls at a festival. But for us, we reserve our cash for when cash is the only option, and the rest of the time we're pretty much paying with an IC card for transportation or convenience stores, or paying with our credit card. So because of that, we don't need a whole lot of cash. So what I do is when we first arrive in Japan at the airport, I'll withdraw about 100,000 yen. So that's like less than 700 US dollars. And then I just use that for as long as it lasts, because we travel for about 3 months when we go to Japan. And then when I need to take out money again, I'll take out about 50,000 yen, so 300 something-ish dollars, and just see how long that lasts us for. And again, we don't spend a whole lot of cash. A lot of people like to say cash is king in Japan, but other than certain circumstances, like maybe you're going to a garden or a normal temples don't require payment, but there's some of these smaller things will require a small amount of cash payment, and a lot of those are even transitioning to where you can pay by your IC card. So
yeah, it's good to have cash, but really, honestly, I'll go a week and I haven't taken cash out of my wallet.
Yeah, just have some on you, but I don't think it's necessary to have a whole lot of cash on you.
Hi, Quatran. I'm probably butchering your name. I'm so sorry. Do you recommend to bring a stroller for my 4-year-old child to Japan?
I'm doing something else.
Okay, so we don't for our child who's 4 years old. In fact, we don't really recommend a stroller in general, and the reason why is because it can be hard to push around. Instead, we would baby wear when it was ever needed. And actually, for when our children got to the age of 4, we actually brought a scooter and had them stand on the scooter. And if they needed help, we would pull them along. It's just so much easier to get around places. And then since the scooter was foldable, we would just take it and carry it around. So that's pretty much how we got around. You can certainly bring a stroller.
But the main consideration is the train stations. Like the metro stations do not always have an elevator, so you could be carrying that stroller up and down the stairs. And I would not want to get on a train at rush hour with a stroller because it is already so packed at rush hour. So if you're taking local trains at non-rush hour, I have seen people sometimes bring a stroller on board. For me, it's a lot easier just to wear our little one in the carrier if they need it. And I've also been paying attention at most amusement parks and other types of places that we go. They normally have stroller rentals, and they're either super cheap, like 500 yen, which is, a few dollars for the day, or even sometimes it's just free to rent the stroller. So when I've seen free stroller rental, I'm like, sure, even if my 4-year-old's walking, I'll like throw my bag into the stroller and push it around for the day. So if you're worried about things like amusement parks or where you're going to be out all day, most likely you can rent a stroller for those types of situations.
Hi, Medina. I'm going in September for the first time. What is the weather usually like? Also love your content. Thank you.
September can still be, so in Tokyo, it can still be kind of like summer weather. So it can still be hot and humid. And also typhoon season can peak in either August or September. So if a typhoon comes in, you could get torrential rain. It's not until usually more like October that it really starts to cool off and feel like fall weather. So September's kind of in that in between, like look at what summer weather is, look at what fall weather is, but you might still have really hot, humid, possibly super rainy conditions.
Yeah, but as far as bringing an umbrella, I wouldn't bother. I would just, if you need one, I would purchase it in Japan. They're very cheap. All the convenience stores have them, the drugstores have them, and I would get one of those ones with the clear top so you can see and walk at the same time. Hi, Jazzy Cat. Jazzy Cat, do you know if there is an eSIM that works in Japan and Korea, or do you not recommend that? Yes, absolutely. We use UBG and also Saili. Those are both very good because what you can do, you'll be required to install an app for it. But once you install the app, then you can use it for, you can either buy a one-off, let's call it like an Asia eSIM that will cover not just Japan and Korea, but all of the countries in the general area. So that's really nice. Or because you install an app, you would only have to install the app once. And then when any other time you want to install another country, you would just purchase that plan. But you wouldn't have to go through the installation process again. So it makes it very easy if you prefer one-off. So again, I don't know if I was clear, but yes, you can buy what's called a global plan or an Asia plan that will cover those countries. And that's what we usually do when we go to Japan and Korea, is just do that because it certainly does make it easier. Or you can just look and purchase one for Japan. And as soon as you arrive in Korea, you can purchase another one. Also makes it very easy. Again, that was Ubiji is mainly what we use for that.
I put our affiliate link in the chat box for that. And for anybody interested in eSIMs, Pocket Wi-Fi, George has an entire playlist to help you choose the right option for your trip.
Hey, Hendrik. Should I take the Fuji excursion even though I have a JR pass, or should I take the JR trains?
The JR pass will get you part of the way to Mount Fuji using the Fuji excursion, and then there's just a piece of that from Otsuki Station the rest of the way to Kawaguchiko Station that you'll have to pay above what your JR Pass covers. So you can use it for part of your trip,
Yeah.
and then just pay for that little segment. It's because when you get really close to Mount Fuji, the railway is Fuji-Q Railway. It's not a JR line anymore at that point. So from from Shinjuku up to Otsuki Station is JR, so your pass covers, and the Otsuki Station to Kawaguchiko Station, you've moved into Fuji-Q Railway territory, so you're just going to need an extra little supplemental.
Yeah, it's a short section. I personally would not purchase. Yeah, I would take the Fuji excursion, but I wouldn't purchase anything else. Instead, just get on the train, on the Fuji excursion train, and then once you get to Otsuki Station, you could get off and purchase the rest there, or you could just stay on the train, and once you arrive in Fuji Yoshida or Kawaguchiko Station, whichever one you're going to, there will be a line that says, I have a JR pass, and you get in that line and you pay the difference. Yeah, to pay
extra.
that.
Yeah. I think there were both signs and announcements letting people who had JR passes know what to do.
Hi, Playful Cloud. What would you know? Would you know if it's worth it to visit Lake Kawaguchi, Mount Fuji in September, or maybe risky since it's during typhoon season and Mount Fuji might not be visible?
Most times a year, it's risky. It's really a toss-up. If you go like on a one-day bus tour or one-day trip to Mount Fuji, you don't know. It could be cloudy and you don't see it at all. I think in September, there's a pretty high chance that it could be cloudy. So if you do choose to do it, just know there's no guarantee that you'll see it.
Yes.
For the best time of year to actually get a view of Mount Fuji would be the winter, because winter is the driest season and clearest skies in general. We've done some trips where it's like one day you could not see it all, and then the next morning you wake up and you can see it. So that's why we actually advise doing an overnight to either Mount Fuji or to Hakone, because if you have 2 days, you have that chance that the sky might clear up. Whereas if you have one day, it's a good chance you just don't get to see.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is a gamble. One time we went in July a couple of years ago, and we spent an entire week there, and we didn't see. Yeah, we stayed in Hakone for an entire week, and we didn't see Fuji the entire time. So it is risky. Yeah, you never know. So I would say if you're planning to go there, think of other things that you're going to be doing and not focus on Fuji, because there is the chance you will not see it.
Yeah, and we do have some other videos of what to do in the Kawaguchiko area. But yeah, September, you probably won't see.
Okay, another question from Shadow Flyer. I'm planning to buy tech, souvenirs, etc. Is it better to ship that back or just pay a checked bag? Is the tax-free system changing if you aren't carrying them back home? So yes, we discussed this a little bit already. The tax system is changing, so I would not ship it, because if you do, you will not, from the middle of April already, it's no longer tax-free. So what I would do is I would do the Yamato hack, where I would buy a box, okay, buy a box from Yamato Transport, fill that all up,
Well, but it's tech. You might want to fill the box with your dirty clothes you're
bringing
home,
yeah,
and put the
true.
tech in like your carry-on bag and bring it onto the airplane with you back, because that way you can do tax-free.
The tax-free still, yes. Yeah. So you can still do the tax-free. It's just that if you ship it, you lose that benefit is now gone. But in general, mailing stuff back from Japan, the service is really good. If anybody has questions on that, feel free to ask.
We just don't do that anymore, because when we fly like Japan Airlines, we get 2 free checked bags per person, and our family only takes like 2 bags going to Japan.
For an entire family.
So when we come back, we have plenty of extra luggage allotment to just check whatever extra. But then I would check like whatever clothes you brought and bring onto the airplane, the tech gear.
So again, yes, the tax system is already in effect. If you are trying to ship it, you will not get tax-free anymore. Hi, Hathor. For booking that you cannot get through sites like Klook, what is the best way to book them? Through the website or ask the hotel staff? This really depends on what you're trying to book.
Give us more
we would need an example.
What it is, because you can try the official like Japanese website. The issue a lot of people run into is that foreign credit cards often aren't accepted, because the websites in Japan have extra security that our credit cards often don't like fill those requirements. So for instance, a lot of times trying to pay on a Japanese website with a Visa credit card, it might not go through. So then we'll try like a MasterCard credit card. But if you're not able to book it on whatever the official site is, then you could ask, and if you can't also find it on Klook, then you could ask the hotel staff. George did a really thorough video on making reservations in Japan, where it talks about when and where to book different things.
From the Nadal family, can you share any summer festivals happening during our 3-week Japan visit in 2 weeks? Travel locations and dates, Tokyo, and then Kyoto, Osaka, things. And so during the summer, there are so many festivals known as matsuris that are happening all over Japan. I don't want to mention any because I could get the dates wrong. However, there's definitely going to be like Obon festivals happening in some of the places that you will be. And throughout all the places, you know what we'll do is
You can go on Google and do like Summer Festival Tokyo, Summer Festivals Kyoto, and just see what comes up. Because even like Obon, it varies depending on the city, what dates it's on. So I would just do a Google search for
yes.
either Obon, OBON, or just like Summer Festivals Japan and those cities and see what dates come up.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and definitely go if you guys, anybody, if you see a festival, a matsuri happening, you should check it out. Just go walk in and just enjoy it. I mean, there's just so many unique things that you're going to see and do, and a lot of unique food that you'll only see at these. So yes. Hey Ronaldo, greetings from El Salvador. What are your thoughts on Shirakawa in December, and how many hours may be advised to spend there?
I would go. I think that it should be covered in snow. We went a little bit late, and so snow was already melting, but that was more.
It was in February. It was actually,
spring.
I was surprised that it was already melting quite a bit.
December should be good, and we tried to do like a full day there. So taking one of the morning buses out to Shirakawa, and then I think it's like a late afternoon.
Yeah.
They have returning back, because there is like a viewpoint you can go on. Oh,
it might be
but
closed.
in the winter, you had to take a shuttle bus to get to the viewpoint. You couldn't just walk up there yourself. And the line for the shuttle bus was super long. So I would allow as much time as you can, like a full day, because there's also restaurants that you can eat at. And we really enjoyed going to the museum there.
Yes, highly recommend the museum.
The museum is a small entrance fee, but it was a lot less crowded in that section than just where everybody else was.
Maybe a 0.5% of all the people that go to the museum. So it'll be a nice reprieve. And you get to really see up in close how the structures really are compared to, tons of people taking photos next to things. So it's really nice. And we also recommend, if you have time, to go to Ainokura. Can you drop that in the chat? Ainokura. So if you happen to be driving, that's really the best way because there's actually 3 different villages. So we also highly recommend Ainokura because there's going to be 1/10 of the people there and it's just as beautiful. Yes, that's it.
Do you know much about the weather though? We haven't been there in December.
We haven't been there in December. We've been there in the summer and in the dead of winter. But
maybe just do a search real quick, like how much snow December. Shirakawa.
I would expect it to be cold, and yeah, I would be prepared for snow for sure. And hopefully it is snowing because then it'll just add to the effect. But even without the snow, it's just such a beautiful place.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it in summertime as well.
Hi, Gord. Do you think the current political situation between the U.S. and Japan regarding unilateral tariffs will result in negative feelings toward English-speaking foreigners? No, I don't think so. I don't want to get into politics because we can just go down a rabbit hole, but I don't think so. That's just not the way the Japanese are. So they know it's not you. They know it's the government. So it's a totally different thing. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Hi, Natalie. I've had multiple people recommend I go ahead and buy yen now because the exchange rate is so good. Do you feel that's true? We will be there in October.
You know, what I do is I watch it, and when it gets really good, then I just like recharge my digital IC cards. But you can only do that up to about 20,000 yen, so it's not a huge chunk. It's really up to you. We personally just wait until we get to Japan to get out our chunk of yen.
Yeah.
If you feel like it's really good, I haven't actually been paying attention.
Yeah, I feel like you have to take out a lot. So, I mean, I honestly do as well. I put it on my Wise card. I purchase it and stick it in Wise and just leave it there because then I had it at that price. But in general, we usually don't because it's been fluctuating a lot between around 145 to about 155 for the past couple of years now, which is, I mean, it's historically ridiculously good. Regardless, any way you look at it, I think it's still good. So yeah, it could get better. It could get worse. Yeah. So
when we used to travel, it was like 100 yen to $1, and so it made it really easy to convert. You just take off 2 zeros. So the fact that it's now like 150 yen to $1 is really nice.
Hi, Kayon Doomer. Thank you for the super chat. First time solo. Is there anything I can do to prepare navigating a trip with the rail system? Hearing a ton about hotel issues with reservations through Western sites. Anything I can do with Expedia?
So Expedia has been good. It's been places like Agoda and Booking.com. Agoda was supposedly making reservations, but not actually making them with the hotel. So people were showing up and not having a reservation. We have always been fine with Expedia. And then rail system, watch our videos. We have videos on how to get IC cards to pay for local transportation. We have videos on how to buy Shinkansen bullet train tickets, explaining limited express train tickets. So our channel is a really good resource when it comes to train transportation. And the number one thing we use for navigating is Google Maps. So already while you're at home, you can enter in your destination, somewhere you're planning to go, and then your starting point, and already look at the directions, and it will show multiple options. You can filter it if you prefer trains over buses, but it'll show you different choices, because a lot of times you can get somewhere by a local train, but maybe you can get there faster with a rapid or a limited express train. So if you're nervous about it, I would just go ahead and start looking up your routes on Google Maps ahead of time.
But yes, definitely check out our playlist. We cover pretty much everything that we can think of possible and all the questions regarding taking the rail system. But if you have a particular question, please leave it in the chat as well. Hi, Edgar. I'm feeling a little anxious for the whole trip. We've planned all of this for October. About Shinkansen reservations, how much time in advance do you recommend I have to make reservations? Are you specifically talking about the Shinkansen reservations? It depends on where you are going. So in October, can you think of any major holidays in October? I can't think of any. So that would be the main issue to be concerned about, is holidays. But
since it's not really a holiday busy time of year, you probably won't be so bad. So for certain areas where there's a lot of trains running, like between Tokyo and Osaka, then maybe you just want to buy your tickets a day or two in advance. And we do have a video that goes over all the different ways to buy Shinkansen tickets. It's really for people who are going in a super busy holiday season that they might want to reserve up to 30 days in advance. And then also if you're going on a route that's sort of less traveled.
So to add to that, if you will be traveling the Golden Route, which is from Tokyo to Kyoto and or Osaka or the other direction, there are over 300 Shinkansens every single day. So you will get on one of those trains. I mean, they're so common. I mean, like every few minutes, literally, if you are purchasing your own tickets, you can ride on the Nozomi trains. You can book in advance, but like Heidi said, because there's so many, you won't have a problem. If you're going to other areas, for example, if you are heading on the Hokuriku route area, which is towards Nagano and Kanazawa, some of their trains are reserved only, such as the Kagayaki. If that is the case, then yes, reserve it in advance, but you don't need to reserve, a month in advance. You can do that a week in advance and you should be able to get a seat. Same with going north on the Tohoku region. If you're heading up to Aomori or Morioka, up that way, Sendai, then there is a train called the Hayabusa, which is also reserved only. So for those, reserve in advance. But again, you don't need to reserve in a month in advance, because a whopping 2% of all travelers to Japan visit the Tohoku region.
Yeah, and I usually recommend getting your tickets at least a day in advance, because if you wait until you go to the train station, you want to get on board the train, then the specific train you want to get on, that time slot might not be available anymore. So if you want a specific time train, then you could go to the station the day before to buy your tickets. I dropped links to our videos on how to buy Shinkansen tickets.
From Katsu again, your video suggests that the bus goes to Mount Fuji level 5 until early September. Do you know a website that can inform if the bus up to level 5 is working on 924 and 925? So we do know some websites, but the only way you're going to know that is the day before, literally, or even the morning of, because it's common. It will close that morning. We tried to go. In fact, the day that we were planning to go, they closed it that morning. It really depends on conditions. So you never know if you're going to get to level 5.
When we were actually in the Kawaguchiko area, I was able to go to Kawaguchiko Station and go into the bus section and ask the person working there, is there a bus going to 5th Station today? If you're not yet in the area, I just can't remember off the top of my head what the website was.
But mahalo for the question. It is a very good question. And, a lot of people try to go there and unfortunately get turned away because when the weather changes, Japan, they don't take any chances. They shut things down.
It's just about weather and road conditions. So if it's not safe.
Hey, Kraken Lakin, why don't you guys just move to Japan since you go there so often? We would love to, but visa rules make it quite complicated. And so being nomads as we are, yeah, you can't just get up and move anywhere. You need a visa, and that can be quite complicated. So maybe someday.
Yeah.
We're thinking about it.
We actually live abroad right now.
Yeah, we do.
Just not in Japan.
Hi, Waffle House. What regions of Japan can I explore if I have 2 weeks there? Quite a bit.
Wherever
It
you
really
want.
depends on what you want to do. You know, if you're flying into Tokyo, you're going to spend your entire time in just Tokyo alone and have only seen this much of it. So the first thing I think you need to do is think about what you want to do. And then based on that, you can decide, well, what part of Japan do you want to fly into? Because, you know, you don't have to fly into Tokyo. You can fly into Osaka. You can fly into Sapporo. You can fly into Fukuoka. Those are like the 4 major hubs that you can fly into. So yeah, first think about what you can do, but you can do an awful lot. The biggest problem that people fall into, though, is they try to do too much. And then when you do that, then you might just get stressed out and not have nearly as good as a time.
Because 2 weeks, you could do a few days in Tokyo, use the Hokuriku Arch Pass, go up to Kanazawa, arch over, and do a few days in the Osaka, Kyoto, Nara area. But that would be a really packed, fast-paced trip. So it's up to you what type of trip you want. To really stay in one place and do day trips, or do you want to be exploring multiple cities?
Hi, Arjun. Visiting Japan in October with senior citizen parents. We have both Kamikochi as well as the Kurobe Alpine route in our itinerary. Being squeezed for days, is it fine if we replace Kamikochi? Yes, in fact, that might be a very good plan because of the logistics to get there. And especially with senior citizens, it can be quite strenuous to walk in that area, especially in October when it's starting to get cold. So yeah, I would replace that. You know, the last thing you want to do is really, again, is try to do too much. And especially with seniors, you know, you definitely got to leave some downtime, I would say. Even if you just, you know, had downtime, I think that would be great.
A rest day will be much appreciated if you put just like a rest day in your schedule to take a break or a breather.
And that whole region is just so beautiful that even if you just sat out and just enjoyed nature, I think you would just have a marvelous time. From Election Forecast Hub, what is the top attractions to Japan's Tokyo Skytree, Sensoji Temple?
Tons of people go to Sensoji Temple. I feel like Tokyo Skytree is like in the past, and now everybody's going to Shibuya Sky because that one is right over the Shibuya crossing, and so you can get views of the crossing and 360-degree views of Tokyo. But a top attraction would be Team Lab. There's both Team Lab Planets and Team Lab Borderless. If you watch our 7-day Tokyo itinerary video, that had all of that in there. I included the temples, the parks, and attractions, and all the observation decks, which also include Tokyo Tower. But I would say Shibuya Sky is the most popular at this point.
But, you know, as far as top attractions, I think you should instead really be thinking about what do you want to do? You know, what is interest of you? Because there's just so many things to do. And if you can, you know, you want to try to avoid the just crazy busy places, which are the top attractions. So think about that as well, because there's just so much to do. And there's also many places where you can visit that aren't the top attractions, but are just as good as far as, like, you know, temples and things like that. And like a drop of the people.
I just put a link to our Tokyo itinerary video if you want to get some ideas.
Hi, from XM. Hello, I am planning to add Korea to my 2-week trip into Japan and then return to Japan before leaving. Would there be a problem with Japanese immigration when returning? In general, no. We do this, you know, we've done it many times. A lot of people are adding Korea and coming back too. Yeah, so no, it shouldn't be a problem unless you have been in and out of Japan an awful lot in the past 6 months. I wouldn't worry about it.
But we've done that. We've, you know, crossed over to Korea, and then when we re-enter Japan, they give us another 90 days.
Yeah.
I still haven't been able to find the website specifically for knowing if that route to the 5th station is open.
Hi, Osvaldo. Any tips for attending a sumo match? Customs and etiquette specific to this activity that I need to know about? For sumo, I would just watch the locals and do as the locals do. Okay, so sumo matches, there's a lot of drinking going on at sumo matches, which is perfectly fine. So again, I would just watch and do as the locals do. You know, they don't get, even though sumo matches can be quite exciting, the Japanese don't get super excited and start screaming and stuff like we would do in the United States. But baseball games, on the other hand, can get pretty loud, and you know, people get awfully drunk there too and can get loud. But sumo seems to be a little bit more tame, at least in our experience. The one thing though is if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I would be looking at that now because they always sell out every single time. So think about.
And it's very limited. It's only certain times a year that there are matches. So you would need to get tickets when they're happening. And then also, if you can get the option to have a meal included, that's a good idea, because if you're there for like the whole match, it's a long ordeal. So if you can also have the meal to eat while you're watching, it's a good idea.
Excellent tip. Excellent tip. Hi, Heidi. I've seen your videos talking about booking hotel rooms in Japan with Expedia. I know you suggest hotels that allow cancellation, but are there advantages, disadvantages to using reserve now, pay later? So we've tried this out a few times, and based on our experience, I don't recommend it. And the reason why is if you reserve now and you pay later, once you get to the hotel, you got to go through the whole process of paying. And a lot of times the English won't be that good. And so there might be some confusion about what exactly still needs to be paid.
And because we've normally forgotten, like we did the pay later and then we forgot, and then they asked us to pay and we're like, huh, I thought we paid on Expedia. And then it just added to the check-in time. So from now on, we'd rather just have it paid, and then when we go to check in, it can be a lot faster, because whether you're staying at a hotel or like an Airbnb in Japan, they're going to want to see your passports, and they're going to need to photocopy your passports. And so when we're tired and we have our kids along, it can just be kind of a long check-in process. So anything that we can do to make that process faster, we prefer. And even if we have paid in advance, if it has that good cancellation policy, we can still get our money refunded if we need to.
And sometimes we even get a better rate by paying now versus using the reserve later or pay later. Hey, Debit, good to hear from you. So I hear good things about linen as well.
We will be wearing some linen on our upcoming trip that we're doing. We're going to test that out. It wrinkles. I mean, so far that's my first thing, is now I bought linen. I'm like, the merino wool was so much easier, because now I'm like ironing a whole family's worth of clothing, and I never had to worry about ironing before. So, but linen can be good for that hot, humid weather. We'll be testing it out soon.
Okay, Heidi. Hi, Heidi. If you use an app like Saily for eSIM, how does it work to communicate for Japan back to America? So 99% of the eSIMs that you will purchase, whether or not they have an app or not, do not come with a Japanese phone number. So if you want to communicate back home, then you would use your voice over IP apps, such as like WhatsApp, Messenger, Telegram, whichever ones that you have.
Line, WhatsApp, FaceTime, anything that uses just the internet will work with the SIM, but things like actual SMS text messaging won't work with a data-only SIM. So just make sure before your trip, you and whoever you want to communicate with both have the same app installed so that you'll be able to use it.
Hi, Mary. I'm traveling to Japan in November with a sibling for about 10 days. How much cash would you recommend taking out for that amount of time?
I'm good having 50,000 yen on me, if you each had 50,000 yen to start with. Like I said before, we pay so much by credit card or IC card, which are the transportation cards, that we really don't use a whole lot of cash. If you're eating at a lot of smaller restaurants, then you might be using more cash than us. We just don't tend to eat at those really small restaurants that have bar stool seating, because we have young kids.
Hi, Cam. I love your channel. Thanks. Is it acceptable for a man or a woman to wear shorts in Japan?
Yes, definitely men. You see foreigners wearing shorts all the time. The one thing I would say is think about what you're wearing when you go to visit a temple or shrine. Japanese men will be wearing long pants at temples, shrines, religious places. Foreign tourist men will be probably wearing shorts, but make sure to at least have your shoulders covered. So like no tank tops, or for women, no spaghetti straps if you're going to a temple shrine. I say just think about, like, would you wear this outfit for church? And if not, then it's probably not appropriate for religious places in Japan either. I don't see women in Japan wearing shorts as much, but tourists definitely can. Japanese women just tend to cover up a lot in the summer when it's hot to protect them from the sun. So loose, long, flowy skirts or pants are more commonly seen. But tourists can definitely get away with wearing shorts.
From Nexus6, is it possible to find a traditional hotel with futon and tatami mats? Are there any recommendations or advice on this?
Yes, so if you look for a ryokan, then those are the traditional inns, and those you can often find with the traditional bedding, and they often sometimes have the option to include a traditional meal, like a dinner or breakfast as well. Some ryokans also will have onsen, and I think we have some included right in our Expedia travel shop. Along with hotels, we also have some ryokan options. Anytime you go to like a hot spring area, then that tends to be really popular for ryokans, like if you're going to Hakone or if you're going to Miyajima Island. Those are both popular places to find. But
yes, but in general, so what I would do is when we use Expedia, we also just check all the rooms. A lot of hotels, even just regular ones, will have tatami room floors. So just check. I mean, but first I would do, as Heidi suggested, is look for specifically for ryokan or traditional Japanese type accommodations. But they're everywhere. You'll find them in the city, not just in the countryside. So yes, it's absolutely possible, and we love staying in those, and I always try to at least once during the trip.
yeah, but hotels might also have Western rooms and Japanese rooms.
Combination of both, yes, very common. Hi, Albert. My wife and I are going to Japan early October. Do we need rain jackets or umbrellas?
Early October. No, by then I think I wouldn't bother. September is still rain. By October, I think you're good. So like George was saying, it's super easy to buy umbrellas in Japan. And then fall and winter are like the drier times. So I probably wouldn't bother packing a rain jacket at that point.
However, though, with the weather changing so much these days, I would prepare for cold just in case.
Yeah, and it usually really cools down about the end of October in our experience, but obviously every year is different.
Early October, you're not going to need a thick jacket, but it could still cool down in the evening times.
I'll share the link to our video on Tokyo weather that goes into really the details.
From MXP 2000, hi, landing at Haneda and staying in Shinjuku. Should my wife and I take a train or catch a taxi? First time visitors arriving at 7:30 p.m. Mahalo. So that is a good question. I would say it depends on your comfort level. You are going to be arriving at a pretty busy time, and that means you're going to have to take the the KQ line, which is super duper crowded at that time. So yes, you might want to take a taxi. There is a taxi queue. As soon as you get out, you'll see a sign, and it's right downstairs, and you just get in line with everybody else. Yes, it's going to cost more, but it will be way easier. The other alternative is you can take a limousine bus. That's pretty nice, an easy way to go. And you might check to see if it actually goes to your hotel, because a lot of the limousine buses go to the major hotels all over Tokyo.
I just put a link in the chat for our video on how to get from Haneda to Tokyo that covers all the options.
Hi, Alexander. Can you set up the Go Taxi app while in the US, or do we have to wait until we get to Japan?
Go ahead and try and see if it'll let you complete the process, because we were able to complete the process before we got to Japan, but then sometimes it says you have to wait till you get to Japan. And the main thing is you need to receive one SMS text message to set it up. So if you're not planning to use your regular phone number in Japan, you might have to like turn it back on just to get that text message. So try and see if it'll let you set it up ahead of time. And we did use our US phone numbers when we set up the app. And then once the app was set up, we didn't really need to receive text messages after that. The communication went directly through the app.
From Election Forecast Hub, what is the Sensoji Temple? What are the top sites near there?
Sensoji Temple is the oldest Buddhist temple in Tokyo, and so it's very popular. I have a video that walks you through a one-day itinerary of how to properly visit Sensoji Temple, as well as the shrine that's there, and what else you can see in that area, ending up at Tokyo Skytree. So I will link to that. It's the Asakusa area. So I have a one-day itinerary for Asakusa.
The whole Asakusa area is amazing. It's very popular though, so it will be crowded. If you want to have some peace, go there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it will just be absolutely amazing. You can just walk the entire area. Watch Heidi's video, actually, and I would go there at 6 o'clock in the morning if you can. So that's perfect. If you're trying to get over your jet lag, go there early, walk around. That whole area along the river is just so beautiful, and it'll be a great start to your trip. From JazzyCad, I think we discussed this already, but can you recommend an eSIM that works in Japan and Korea? So yes, we do use Ubigi for that, UBIGI. They have a plan that you can purchase for Asia that will cover a bunch of the Asian countries in the area, and the price is pretty good.
I put our affiliate link, and we also have a 10% discount coupon if you go with UBG.
Hi, Colby. I am going to Japan for a month this October, November. I'm bringing mostly cash, a decent option, or am I better off using credit cards and only using ATMs for exchanging cash?
We do the credit card plus using the ATM. For us, we get a really good rate that way. It depends on your bank, because with the ATM, when you go to withdraw money, you want to select Japanese yen, not select it converted into your home currency. And when you select Japanese yen, it's basically up to the card you're using and your bank to determine the exchange rate. And we get an excellent exchange rate having a US bank account and using our debit card at the ATM. So we go with that option because whenever you take cash and you exchange it at one of those currency exchanges, you're going to lose a chunk of money because they either give you a poor exchange rate or they have like commissions and fees that they charge. So you're not going to get as much money converting cash at a currency exchange. Also, credit card, make sure you have one that does not charge foreign transaction fees. And when you go to pay with credit card, if they give you the option to pay in Japanese yen or say US dollars, choose Japanese yen.
Always.
Because if you choose US dollars and let them do the conversion, they can use dynamic currency conversion, and that can come with a fee of up to 12%. So no matter what you're doing in Japan, Japanese yen. Paying by credit card, choose Japanese yen. Using the ATM, choose Japanese yen. And again, before your trip, check things like, does your debit card for using the ATM charge a fee for using a foreign ATM? And then are there foreign transaction fees on your credit card? Those are all things you want to get straightened away before you head out.
Yeah. And just wanted to add one thing to be clear also, we never use our debit cards for, the only thing we only use our debit cards for are for.
I think we've lost it.
We may have lost internet. Oh, the only thing we used our debit cards are for is the ATM.
Let us know. Are we still here? Can
Yes.
you still see us? Can you still hear us? I'm afraid we lost internet connection for a second.
We'll keep going in the meantime.
Do we need to restart anything? Can you see?
As far as I know, I think we're still
Can
going.
somebody at least put in the chat box, I can still hear you. I can still see you.
I'll keep going in the meantime. Hi, Al. When booking hotels, what is the standard cutoff age for children? I have a 13 and 11-year-old. Do I list them as children or adults? In most cases, your 11-year-old is still considered a child. Your 13-year-old will be considered an adult. Usually 12 years of age is the cutoff. It does vary from hotel to hotel.
And for transportation as well in Japan, 5 and under are infants that ride transportation for free.
Oh, good, we're still
6 to 11 is child fare. They count as children, and 12 and up in Japan is an adult. I know a lot of people get upset with that, is that they don't get child prices anymore. But one of our kids soon to be 12, they'll be paying adult price for everything. Yeah.
Great.
Okay,
thank you, everyone, for letting us know.
You can still hear us.
Hi, Aggie J16 for Android phone. Just get the Red Tourist physical IC card from a vending machine at Haneda Airport. Is it where I load it with money from a credit card?
If you think you have any chance of returning to Japan again within the next 10 years after your first trip, I would just get a regular Suica card. So that's the green one, and that's going to be valid for 10 years after the last time you use it. You can also get that from a vending machine. And the first time when you initially purchase it and load a balance on it, you might be able to use your credit card at that point. That is the only time you'll be putting money on it with a credit card. After that, with the physical plastic card, every time you recharge it, you will need cash to recharge it. The tourist red card, it's only valid for 28 days, so it's going to expire. I feel like if there's any chance you're returning to Japan, you might as well get the actual green Suica card.
And so the only time we now recommend the red or the welcome Suica card is if the regular one is not available, which is possible. It may not be available. Hi, Heidi. Do hotels in Japan require a credit card for incidentals like in the US? Yes.
Yeah.
So excellent question. Yes, they do. Hi, Summer. Firstly, thank you for the amazing content. First time solo trip to Japan this September. 5 nights in Tokyo, 5 nights in Osaka, then 3 nights in Tokyo. Best areas to stay. Any must-do day trips?
We have videos on all of that. He has a video on where to stay in Tokyo. I'll find that and put a link in the chat box. And we also have a video on the best day trips. Do you want to mention some of the day trips?
Yeah, for day trips from Tokyo, so Nikko is really good. If you are really into temples, the Toshogu Shrine in Nikko is hard to beat. Other day trips are always Mount Fuji or the Hakone area are fabulous areas if you want to get more into nature. It's just that by going to either Hakone or Mount Fuji, there's never a guarantee you're going to see Mount Fuji, but there's plenty more to do there. There's a lot of hiking trails and just a lot of other things to see and do in the area. Oh, and are you going in September? What is that place? The flower place that you like is also really good.
Oh, Hitachi Seaside Park. I'm not quite sure what they have there in September, but all times a year they have something. So I'm linking right now to our videos on where to stay in Tokyo and also day trips from Tokyo.
And if you're going to Osaka, I am probably going to get some flack for this, but I highly recommend that you go to the Expo 2025. It's actually really good, in our opinion. After we visited several times, we found a way to make it enjoyable. So it's actually pretty good if you are into technology.
We have videos on Expo. Also from Osaka, Minoo Falls is a really pretty place. So September.
It might.
It might be early
Maybe.
for fall leaves at that point. Fall leaves tend to be more like November-ish. But Minoo Falls is a nice like day hike.
Very nice day hike. Hi, Moomin. Perfect for Japan. Moomin's everywhere all over Japan. So just a side thing, sorry. Anyways, is the IC card shortage completely over? Yes. As far as we know, we in the past year, they've been everywhere. Everywhere we looked, anytime we tried to get an IC card for a friend or something, they've always been in all the places where they usually are.
And if you have one, just keep it to reuse it. Bring it back again.
Hi, Nameless 2. This is such great timing. I have been watching your videos. We are coming to Japan, arriving October 23rd and leaving November 4th. We can't find any hotels near Shinjuku Station. Any suggestions? Yeah, it could be booking up. I would look in the area, in the Kabukicho area. There's a lot of hotels clustered in that area. So it's, that area does have some good parts to it. It's not just all bars and stuff like that. But if you look in the, I would say, northeast section around there, but also I would look in the what is it, west of Shinjuku Station, like near the Keio Plaza. There's also a lot of hotels over there. They're more pricier on that side. Yeah, that's unfortunately it's getting into busy season. But yeah, please look around there. And it really also depends on how many people are in your party, I would say.
And there's definitely other areas in Tokyo. If you watch our Where to Stay in Tokyo video, that goes over like the top areas we recommend staying. Shinjuku is not your only option.
Absolutely not.
Just a good one for reaching Mount Fuji.
Yes. Yeah. So it really depends on what you want to see and do. That's why we also really like the Tokyo Station area. We also really like the Asakusa area.
If you want to visit Sensoji Temple and all that stuff, then Asakusa is a nice, easily walkable.
And the prices tend to be better in the Asakusa Ueno area as well. And really, as long as you are very near a station, you really can't go wrong, because you can really get to places in 20 to 30 minutes, pretty much. Hi, Sabsian. Is pollen an issue in April? Worried about catching hay fever?
I think I have heard from people who have allergies that it can be an issue, especially when things are just different than what you're used to. So if you're taking any type of allergy medication, just double check ahead of time whether or not your specific medication is legal in Japan, because some of them that are legal in other countries are not in Japan. And then if it is legal and okay, go ahead and bring it with you to Japan. Or I think things like Zyrtec can be purchased in Japan too. They might be lower doses. I think what I noticed is like on the Benadryl I had, it was a higher dose than what was allowed in Japan. So just, maybe do a Google search to see if your medication is legal there. But I think I have heard from other people that they do suffer from allergies. But
just a side note there, our family, we've never suffered.
Yeah, we don't personally. So only like if that's already an issue for you regularly.
Yeah. Hi, Khalid. I will be landing at Narita on a public holiday, September 23rd. In the afternoon, will public transport to Tokyo be a problem? It won't be a problem, but it might be very crowded. So the good thing is there's a lot of different types of transportation. There's multiple trains. You have the Narita Express, you have the Keisei Skyliner, and then there are several other local or like mid-level trains. Yeah, and also the limousine buses. So the good thing is you're arriving in the afternoon. If you're arriving and close to 9, 10 o'clock, then I would be more worried. But since you're in the middle of the afternoon, the only thing is it's going to be crowded. Hi, Hot Cross Machine Bun. If I use a luggage transfer service from Tokyo to Sapporo, will it take a long time for my luggage to arrive?
That is quite a distance, so I wouldn't expect it to be same day. I'd expect it to take a day or two.
Yes.
They usually always want to give you like a buffer zone, so they may tell you like it's going to be 3 days, but then it usually gets there quicker than what they say. If you have things like skis and stuff that you just don't want to have to lug with you, then you could do the luggage transfer. And then it depends. It's like, are you taking the train, so you're trying to ship your luggage ahead, or are you flying, in which case you could just bring it with you on the airplane. But yeah, when you get into longer distances, it can be in the like 2 to 3 days range, but then it may come sooner than they say.
Yeah.
They never want to tell you like 2 days and it take 3. That would be awful to them. So they'd rather tell you it's going to take 3 days and then it takes 1 day.
In our personal experience, it's taken us 1 day, but that's because we shipped it in the morning from Tokyo. But they are going to tell you at least 2 or 3 days, so there's no guarantee.
So whenever we're doing luggage forwarding, we always pack accordingly, that we have like a carry-on suitcase that has our clothes for a couple days and our toiletries in it. And whatever we pack in our larger suitcase that we're going to forward is stuff that we can be without for a couple days.
Aloha, Streets of Kaneohe. Hello, in your opinion, what was the best hotel with 3 beds that you can stay at in Tokyo, meaning most reasonably priced and close? So I would say Hotel My Stays is definitely a very good option that is very reasonably priced. You can also check Appa Hotel, though they've been getting a lot of bad news lately from the owners, so we don't like to recommend them too much anymore. But definitely check out My Stays. The main issue that we have is, as I mentioned earlier, is a lot of the rooms that have 3 beds sell out quickly. So try to look for those as soon as you can.
I just put a link to our Expedia travel shop, and we have included those types of rooms with 3 beds in there.
Tokyo Stays is also really good, but their price is getting a little bit higher.
And still, don't expect the room to be spacious. Like, you often barely have room to even open a suitcase in a Japanese hotel room. They can be pretty tight quarters.
So again, from Christy, thank you for answering my question. I want to stay in each place at least 3 days. What I still need to purchase is a rail pass, and our rail passes used at regular train lines. So this really, again, depends on where you're going. But if you were going to be spending, I would say more than 7 days, and probably no, I would not get a rail pass.
I don't think you'll be getting something like the whole Japan rail pass if you want to spend 3 days. Instead, you can just buy individual Shinkansen tickets. The Shinkansen is when you're going from one city a far distance to the next city. And then when you're paying for local trains, it's really easy just to pay by an IC card and tap in and out. So if you go ahead and look at our playlist on KENSHOQUEST about how to buy Japan train tickets, we cover all those different topics.
So I'm going to answer 2 questions here in one, since they're similar. This is from Andy and from Ziggy. Love your videos. Going in early November is this year. How's the weather, and is it crowded?
November is kind of like the prime best weather time, I would say, because the humidity is dropping, it's cooling down, so you may want to bring like a jacket with you, or maybe scarf, gloves, those type of things, but it's nicer. It's like a reprieve after the summer. Also, the fall is not as crowded as the spring, but it's kind of like the second most popular time to go. So a lot of Americans go in the spring for the cherry blossoms, then the second most amount of people would go in the fall. So it's kind of medium crowded.
Yeah, medium crowd. But as far as the weather, again, definitely bring a jacket, because it might be really nice in the daytime, but at night it could get cold, especially if the wind kicks in.
And we have complete packing videos on our channel, both the Tokyo weather video, and I just did like an ultimate packing list as well that covers what to bring for each season.
Hi, Rocket. Do you think 2 days to explore Hakone and also climb Mount Fuji is feasible using the Hakone Pass, I think it's called?
So if you want to do both, then I recommend 3 days. I have a video on what's called the Fuji Hakone Pass. It's offered by Odaki Railway, and that would give you time to go and spend 1 day and 1 night in Hakone, and then 2 days in Fuji, but actually climb Mount Fuji. He has experience on that.
Yeah, I would give yourself at least an extra day, because you need to get a very early start, and it's going to take your entire day. You might want to do that as your last day. So if you're going to be doing any hiking beforehand, you'll still have energy, because if you're out of shape like me, then those next 2 days you're going to won't have enough energy to do too much, I feel like. So yeah, I would do 3 days. And especially if you're looking at, it depends on also where you're going to climb Mount Fuji. There's a lot of different trails, so think about that in relation to Hakone.
Yeah, between the two, it's buses, so it's kind of slow going to get from Hakone over to Mount Fuji. Kawaguchiko area.
From Jamani, hi Jamani, and thank you for the super chat. Would you recommend hotels or Airbnbs for a party of 5? Thank you both for great informative videos.
We did a video on comparing them, but because we travel long term, we sometimes still do either an Airbnb or a vacation rental through Expedia. Because when we stay for a whole month, we get a discount that way. If you're doing a shorter trip, when we're doing shorter, we typically are leaning more towards hotels more. Things like having a reception desk that can help you with things like shipping your luggage. You know, if there was an emergency, there's somebody to contact there. We do personally do Airbnbs, but that's when we're staying for longer.
Yes.
What's your take on it?
So the main issue is if you were staying a short time, Airbnbs are quite expensive in the city center, I feel like. So I would just stay in a hotel. If you were going a little bit farther out, then you can usually get a good deal on an Airbnb. But just know that it's going to take you another, 10, 20 minutes to get to places. And if you're okay with that, then yeah.
Because Airbnb will tend to charge like a cleaning fee. So if you're only staying a couple nights and all those extra fees are getting added on, it can add up.
You're going to need to separate your trash, by the way, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But if you, one of these days, we're going to make a video on how intense the Japanese are about separating. You're going to have to wash your recycled containers and stuff. So if you don't want to do that, then
most Airbnb hosts won't even let you throw your garbage out yourself because you probably didn't sort it correctly.
Yeah, so they're actually going to sort through your trash and resort it later. So if they tell you to put it all in one bin, well, you know what? They're actually going to do that later. That's pretty crazy. Hi, Nick. Any Sapporo, Hokkaido specific tips? My wife and I have planned a trip for a week in September. We love Hokkaido and Sapporo both, so I'll let her take it away.
It's my favorite area. We have not specifically been in September, though. We tend to go in the winter, so like the December, February, and also we go in the summer for the flowers. So I don't have specific knowledge like what it is like in September. It's probably really nice. I did one video that's an itinerary for visiting Sapporo, Otaru, and Asahikawa. I can link to that. It is a video in the wintertime, but that pass that we use, the Sapporo Furano area pass, can be used any time of year. Yeah. Sapporo is really nice just to walk around. There's a long park that runs through the city. There's a lot of nature in the area.
Yeah. I highly recommend you check out Heidi's videos on the itineraries because regardless if it's summertime or wintertime, these places are just stunningly beautiful. And to us, if you're familiar with Northern California, it feels very similar, the feel, like you're in wine country, kind of like a lot of organic food and just everything just feels clean.
The soft cream, the
soft cream.
Dairy products are really good.
Cream is very good in Hokkaido. A lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. Yeah. And I highly recommend Furano, the area of Furano. It's more in the center. You know, you can take a pass for there. But Sapporo also, Nakajima Park is fantastic. Walking in the Odori Park, which is right in the center of Sapporo, is also really good. The Mount Moiwa Observatory is really good up on the hill. Oh, you were gonna add something else?
I like the chocolate factory. So I just linked to the Hokkaido itinerary and it covers all that. You just won't have the snow during that time of year.
From Khalid, how would weather be October 27th week in Osaka, especially for Expo 2025?
It'll be cooling down.
Yeah, it will be cooling down.
But the note with Expo 2025 is it's right on the water. Oh.
It will be Osaka. The Expo ends on the 13th of October, I believe. So if you're not there sooner, yeah, I'm sorry. I believe it ends on the 13th.
But in general, for Expo, it cools off in the evening, so you do need a jacket or something.
But otherwise, it's still nice weather time. Hi, Taylor. Sorry. My partner and I are heading to Japan soon, and we will be in Osaka for the Tenjin Matsuri. Have you been to this festival? What might we expect for summer festivals? And is wearing jinbei yukata okay? So we haven't particularly been to this Matsuri, but absolutely wearing a jinbei yukata is okay to wear to the summer festivals. In fact, I'm sure a lot of the locals will like it.
And then that's the time you want to have cash on you for getting like food from the food vendors at the festival. Fireworks are really common in the summer festivals.
Okay. From Colby, I have heard that mosquitoes are quite common even into November. Does Japan have effective repellent for these pesky insects?
I usually bring our own mosquito repellent because especially in the summertime and when you get out of the city, like you go anywhere green or by the rivers, the mosquitoes are really bad. I just bring my own. I'm sure they sell it as well. There's plenty of drugstores everywhere in Japan where you could pick up. What's the one I used to always go to?
Matsumoto Kiyoshi. Matsumoto Kiyoshi. They are everywhere. It's like it has like a yellow sign with black writing on it. It's very good.
So you could go somewhere like that to pick up insect repellent if you didn't bring it with you.
Let's see. Something's weird's going on. We're getting like the repeat comments showing up like 4 or 5 times. I think there's something going on wrong with this. So sorry why this is taking longer than it normally would. Hi, love always. Jasmine flying into Haneda, staying 5 nights in Ginza, then 4 days Kyoto, visit Nara, then 2 days Disney, and back to Haneda. Is that good?
That sounds nice. Yeah. And I recommend watching our Tokyo itinerary video for what to do during those 5 days in Tokyo. And then Kyoto, Nara, that's good. Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Is May a good time to go to Mount Fuji?
It's open for hiking in the summer. So if you just mean like the area to view it, then yeah, I think that would be good. Yeah. That's not a hiking time of year though.
And it's still a pretty good decent time to see Mount Fuji, though. Yeah, I would go early May is better than late. As soon as it started getting to late May in June, then that's when it can start raining and you might not see Mount Fuji.
Yeah, hazy conditions. I have a video on like the things to do in the Mount Fuji area that I'll link to.
Yeah. And real quick, thank you so much, Eileen. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Thank you so much for the super chat. And also, Diabetic, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. As far as the chat, I don't know. The things on mobile are just so different these days. It seems like they're always changing that every day. Hi, Melissa. How do you get from Haneda to your accommodation with a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old? Goal is not to take any crowded transport. We will not be taking car seats.
So if you want to avoid the crowded public transportation, that's when we opt for the airport transfer, a private transfer. When it's taxi kind of situation like that in Japan, they don't really require you to use a car seat, but if you want to, then it's easiest to bring your own. We've brought like the Pico Wavy before, where it folds up. It's a really compact car seat, so it doesn't take up much space. And then for 5 years old and up, we use what's called a Ride Safer travel vest.
It's like a harness.
So they just have like a vest that they wear, and that's easier than a booster seat. Instead of a booster seat raising them up, the vest puts the seatbelt down where it needs to go. I could link.
Yeah, so your 5-year-old can wear that, definitely. And we highly recommend that. We've been using that for years for our kids because it folds down pretty compact. Yes, it takes a little bit of space, but it's, because it's just a material, you can fold it up and put it in your bag. It's much better than having a car seat, because otherwise is getting a car seat, like if you hired a private transport, they may provide you with 1 car seat only. They're never going to provide 2, unfortunately. And that's because the law doesn't require it. So they don't have them, in general. So yeah,
if you're in a private vehicle, like you ride with a friend, then a car seat's required. But when it's a taxi type, it's not. I just linked to like our recommendations for travel car seats in our Amazon shop. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you if you want to bring something or you want them to go no car seat, or you might be able to, can you arrange for them to have 1 car seat for the young?
Yes, you can.
For the private transfer. Yeah. Let me give you a link to as well for the private transfer from the airport. That's what we've been doing most of our recent trips.
Yeah, sorry, I know that's a really tough one with little kids, and we're looking to try and find alternatives for that. And in fact, I will talk to one of the companies that we're in touch with to see if they are going to implement anything like that in the near future. But unfortunately, they, it's because it's not required, and a lot of Japanese, they just don't use them.
They're a little more lax than like the US, you get ticketed really easily.
Yeah.
So I also just linked to where you can arrange for that private transfer. So a nice, comfortable van to take you from the airport to your accommodation. And that way you don't have to stress or worry about trains and transfers and luggage with the young kids.
Is tap water safe to drink even in rural areas?
In our experience, yes. We drink the tap water there. We haven't been so much out into like really remote rural areas. There could be some areas you want to boil it. I don't know. In general, it's clean.
Does it make sense to get both physical and iPhone IC cards just in case something happens to one of them?
Not really. You really just need one IC card per person. Even with the digital ones, if you have express transit mode turned on, supposedly if your phone battery dies and your phone won't turn on for a certain amount of time, it should still work to tap your phone. Also, you don't have to have a working internet connection to tap your phone and for it to work. It's like only if you're really worried, but you need to tap in and tap out with the same card. So if you started the trip with your mobile IC card, you're going to need to tap out with that again. Or if you started it with a physical card, you're going to need to tap out with a physical card. We end up with extras just like because we've got kids and sometimes they lose theirs and find it again, or we're making a video to show you guys how to get an IC card. But in general, just one card per person, and each person needs to have their own separate IC card. I'll try to find our video that goes over all the details of IC cards.
Okay, how long does it usually take to ship luggage from hotel to hotel? And also, does it work for hostels? I have few stays in for one night only. Should I plan to ship to every other hotel? So the key is they need to have a front desk. There has to be staff, and Yamato knows this. And so if they know that there's not going to be somebody that they're just not going to do it, they won't ship it. So,
and also you could check with your accommodation ahead of time and ask them, is it okay to have it sent there? But hostel, please think about the space. Like, I wouldn't want to bring like a really large suitcase to a place like a hostel. Can you pack lighter? Can you bring less? Or if you only have a large suitcase because you're trying to bring souvenirs home, can you store it temporarily? Because that could be kind of a hassle. We normally use the luggage forwarding when we're doing something like a 7-day train trip and we don't want to have the luggage with us during those 7 days. So we'll forward it on to wherever we're going to end up at. But we don't forward it like if we're only staying a couple nights, or, if you're staying one night only, it logistically wouldn't really make sense to send your luggage unless you're going to have it skip a couple of, like if you're going to send it and have it skip a few days and then go to where you're eventually going to end up, in that situation it would make sense.
And they say to plan for at least 2 days for the item to receive. The farther it is, then the longer it's going to take. In our experience, it usually takes 1 day to go from like Tokyo to Kyoto, but that's because you ship it in the morning. Make sure it gets in the morning shipment.
I'll link to our luggage delivery video where we do include some same day options in that one.
Hi, Kodan Dapani. You guys are really fantastic. Question: we have a 1 day in Kyoto, but we realized a lot to cover. What's your suggestion? So it really depends on what you want to do, but I think most people are going to Kyoto or going for the temples. I would not miss Kiyomizu. You can go there for the sunset. I would save that for the sunset, or save Fushimi Inari Taisho for the sunset, because both of those places, well, the Fushimi Inari really thins out in the evening time, and the farther you go up the hill, the less people you will be. If you just stay at the bottom, there's going to be a gazillion people there. The key is to go farther up the hill. So I would see those, because I think they're very iconic. Those two things, and then possibly also Kinkakuji, which is the Golden Temple. It's a little bit farther out, and so you need to think about transportation-wise. Those three things would probably fill up your entire day. And then, for dinner, I would look in the Ponto Cho. I would skip Arashiyama Bamboo Forest.
It's going to be crowded. Not really worth it.
Hi, Nate. In the U.S., hotels are quite lenient on extra guests, especially children. I can sneak in a child without any questions. Yeah. In Japan, yeah, they're definitely more strict. I have a 5 and a 7. Can I sneak them in?
You need to include them when you make the reservation. So when you go to make the reservation, it will ask how many kids and it will ask their ages, because sometimes the younger kids can like sleep for free if sharing a bed.
Absolutely. So check that. When you're looking at your hotels, look and see if they have a policy for kids at a certain age, and commonly for children under the 5, they're free. So I would look at on Expedia. That's at the bottom of the page. They have like extra notes for children and stuff like that.
But definitely include everybody in your reservation.
Yes. All right, guys, we're getting close to an hour and a half here, so we're just going to answer a few more questions, and unfortunately, we'll have to call it and plan for the next one.
And if you don't get your question answered during the live, you can leave a question on any of the videos on our KENSHOQUEST channel, and we'll try to get back to you over there.
Hi, Mikia. Is the 5-hour train ride from Tokyo worth going to Kojima for the Betty Jean Smith making experience? So it's actually going to be more than 5 hours, because once you get Well, maybe it's about 5
Okay,
miles.
I would only do that train trip if you're going that way anyways. If you're not doing that, and if you're in Tokyo, there is a Betty Smith experience located in Tokyo where you can go and customize your own jeans. That's available on Klook. I can link to that. But yeah, I would only go way out to like that Kojima, Okayama
Yeah, Okayama.
area if you're going there anyways.
It's far because first you got to get to Okayama, and then you got to take a couple of trains to get to Kojima, which is like another hour or an hour and a half farther. It's far. So if you're going to Okayama or planning to go to Kurashiki, the town of Kurashiki, which is a very nice little town, then it would be worth it. Unless you absolutely are making a special going to have a special jeans making experience, which they do have more options at the actual factory in Kojima compared to Tokyo.
But that would be like an overnight trip.
Yeah,
so I just linked in the chat box to the experience that's in Tokyo if you don't want to go that far.
Hi, Rank. Is there a really smart buy that'd be worth spending a good amount of money in Japan?
Electronics.
Oh yeah, certain Japanese electronics for sure. I would check for sure. I would check Yodobashi camera and big camera. So like I had mentioned before, I bought Heidi a pair of Sony noise canceling headphones, and we saved over $100, and I'm going to buy the new one, or she's going to buy me the new one when we go back there, because I checked the prices, and right now, yeah, it's going to save at least $100 on it. There's a lot of things, not everything, but look around, look for Japanese made stuff. That's the key. If it's a foreign thing, then it's probably not going to be any difference in price. And then look for coupons too, like the big camera coupons. They usually have 7% off, and then you get the tax free as well, which is another 10%. So yes, but specific items, again, look for Japanese made items.
Japanese brands specifically.
Your video mentioned for excess luggage, go to Kuroneko and use their box instead of buying a second luggage bag. Great tip. Is it safe to send the box to the airport 4 days before departure? Yes, I would do that. 4 days is a good amount of time. In fact, they won't even take it from you if you hadn't shipped it 2 days in advance. And the boxes are very sturdy. So we've done that. In fact, we did this on our last trip. We did exactly that. We had it shipped, and then we repackaged it and put different things on it, and then
we took it in a taxi to the airport. But yeah, you can ship it directly to the airport. And it is good to do it in advance. We heard from one person that did it too late from like a small shop, and it didn't make it to the airport in time. So go through either your hotel or an actual Yamato transport office when you're shipping it to the airport. Don't go through like just a convenience store.
Hi, Sasha. We have purchased tickets to Universal Studios and Tokyo Disneyland. Any tips, suggestions, best plans of attack? Is it possible to get into the very popular Super Nintendo world? Absolutely.
Yes, we have videos that go into that. I'll try to find one to link for you. But for Super Nintendo World, currently, I would say get in line 2 hours before it says the park opens. So if the calendar says that Universal Studios opens at 9, get in line by 7 a.m. If it says it opens at 10, be in line by 8 a.m. So basically, when they see a really big crowd, they often open the gates early ahead of opening time. And it's been as much as like an hour and a half early they've been letting people in. And if you're able to walk very quickly to Super Nintendo World, if you get there within the first group of people, you may get in without needing an area timed entry. Otherwise, you can use the USJ app on your phone to schedule an area timed entry to get into Super Nintendo World. I'll find one of my videos to link for that. Also, Tokyo Disney is so crowded, so just pay the extra for whatever they call it, Premier Access or something, to get the rides you want, because if you don't pay extra, you may never get on the ride.
So for Tokyo Disney, think about the #1 attraction you want to see first. Look at the map, plan it out, how to get there as quickly as possible, because all the Japanese already know how to beat you there. So take that into consideration, because by the time you get there, that line's going to be super long. So yeah, otherwise, the Premier Access is the only way for Tokyo Disney. Hi, Arul. Hi, both. Your content is very useful. Does Rakuten stay near Lake Ashinoko offer luggage storage if we stay for a night? No, they do not. Most of these places, in fact, I don't know of any Rakuten stay that will store your luggage for you.
Yeah, because they don't have a reception with people working there. It's like a self-check-in process. So if you're going to like the Hakone area, I just recommend either leaving most of your luggage in Tokyo and taking like an overnight bag with you to Hakone, or if you're continuing on after that, say you're going down to Osaka, just go ahead and forward ahead most of your luggage to where you're going afterwards, and just take very little with you to Hakone. That's what's worked for us.
Yes. Hi, XG. Would I be able to send suitcases from Narita Airport to Osaka and have them stored there for a few days? So yes, you can. So if you were sending it to an airport to Osaka, where exactly are you sending it? If you were sending it to like a hotel or something like that, they're probably not going to be too happy about it. If you're sending it just to the airport, yes, they will keep it for you up to 7 days as long as it is going to a Yamato office. That is what's very important, okay? Is if you are using Yamato Transport, they will store your luggage for you up to 7 days. So when you fill out your paperwork, you put on there the day you will collect it. Very important. Put the day that you will collect it.
So if you're sending it from the airport to a hotel in Osaka, again, you can select the delivery date for within the next 7 days. So we'll put the delivery date to a hotel for the day we check into the hotel. And it gives you that 7-day window. So it's kind of like you're getting storage.
Yeah, it's a good hack to know. So Yamato will keep it for you for 7 days at no extra charge.
We have 2 videos on our channel. I already put one in the chat box about luggage delivery services.
Have you ever had problems accessing Wi-Fi with your eSIM at airports? Throttling had problems at Fukuoka and Narita in 2024. We're going to Sapporo in a couple of months. As far as throttling, yes, we've had throttling issues by using too much data in a period of time. You can expect that pretty much with most carriers unless they specifically say that you have an amount of a lot of data, like 20, 30 gigs. But then once you reach that, then you could be throttled, not necessarily. As far as Wi-Fi issues, not personally, we haven't had issues at the airports either at Fukuoka or at Narita. So I'm sure it can happen, but what I would do is if I wasn't getting a connection, I would just try to move to a different location in the airport if possible.
Or we use like different ones for the eSIM and the pocket Wi-Fi. What are those called?
Yeah.
Different.
We use different carriers too. So since we're a family, also, we always get multiples of each. Like I get an eSIM, Heidi gets an eSIM. We also get a pocket Wi-Fi. But then when we choose these, we try to choose ones that use different carriers. So the carriers I mean by the Japanese networks, like one eSIM might use NTT Docomo, another one might use SoftBank, and another one might use, now I can't even think of it.
Ow.
OW or Rakuten. You know, so there's 4 different big networks. And by using a bunch of different ones, then you probably going to be mostly covered. If one area is not covering it, then the other one, by overlapping, might cover it.
I just put the link to his video on choosing a pocket Wi-Fi or an eSIM for Japan.
Is traveling in May, the week after Golden Week, a good time to go, or is it still crowded?
It might still be a bit crowded, but less crowded. I mean, at least it's not Golden Week. Spring break, whenever people from other countries have spring break, is when it tends to get really crowded.
How common is food poisoning? Any types of restaurants to avoid?
So I would say that it's not really common, but oh man, have we experienced it, and it was not good. The type of restaurant I would avoid based on our experience is a buffet where the food is just sitting out. Also, like those conveyor belt sushi, if the sushi is just rotating and sitting there, probably not a good idea. Yeah. A lot of the conveyor belt ones have switched to where you order and then it just comes to you on the conveyor belt, so that's made fresh. So that's a better option. But, you know, anytime food is sitting out. So I guess also like food stalls outside, think about the temperature and how long that food's been sitting there. And we bring like activated charcoal and stuff in case that does happen.
Hi, Locaso. What is the best way to move around using trains in Tokyo, and how expensive can a taxi get? Example, from Shinjuku train station to Osaka.
So within Tokyo, we just mostly take local trains, sometimes if we need to, a bus, and that's what we use that IC card to pay for transportation. We do sometimes take taxis for shorter distances, like within Tokyo. If we want to get from our hotel to the train station, then we'll use the Go Taxi app, and that can be a good option for short distances. But when you say Shinjuku, to the train station to go to Osaka. Okay, so you're just talking about like from Shinjuku to Tokyo Station?
Tokyo Station, yes.
So
I would say that's going to cost between 2,000 and 3,000 yen. It's going to depend on traffic.
For a taxi.
Yeah, 2,000 to 3,000 yen. So we commonly use it to go shorter distances because sometimes you got to walk 15 minutes to the train station, then you got to wait, and then you got to walk some more. So for us, we'll just take a taxi.
When you're dragging your suitcases, it can be more inconvenient. So.
Yeah. How hard is it to navigate in non-tourist areas? Can we avoid oversaturated tourist traps?
Using Google Maps, I'd say it's pretty easy to navigate anywhere. The main consideration when you get like really farther out is that trains might be a lot less frequent, and then you may need to use buses, and sometimes it's just hard to know which side of the street to catch the bus on. If you use Google Maps for a train, it will tell you what platform to go to get on the train. But the bus, you kind of have to be oriented which direction to know what side of the street to catch a bus on. But I mean, Google Maps, you can navigate pretty much anywhere. And then, yeah, to get out of the oversaturated tourist traps, you just go anywhere that is not one of the main top recommended tourist sites. Like I was talking about, there was a shrine that we went to in Shinjuku. Shinjuku, Tokyo, crowded area, like nobody at that shrine, just because it wasn't one of the major ones that everybody says to go to. So you can even just zoom in on Google Maps and see if it marks some shrines or some parks, and just go there, and it's most likely just as nice as like the top recommended ones that everybody's going to.
If I arrive 4 p.m. in Tokyo at the airport, can I expect Yamato or Sagawa to deliver my luggage at the hotel by midnight?
They'll probably say next day for that, because the same day cutoffs tend to be early in the morning, like a 10 a.m. morning. But I mean, you probably will have it by the next day. So again, how I pack is just have like in your backpack or something, a change of clothes and your basic toiletries that you're going to need, and just, you know, be prepared to not have everything that's in your suitcase till the next day.
I would also check JAL ABC. They also
yeah.
do same day delivery. So
But again,
if
there's like a cutoff.
there is a cutoff. So, but yeah, that's the third option. JAL ABC, same as Japan Airlines.
And usually they're located, like Yamato and JAL ABC,
next to each
right
other.
next
They'll
to
be
each
right
other
next to
at
each
the
other.
airport.
Yeah. We'll be there in 2 weeks. How's the weather? Hot.
Well, we're not there in Japan.
We're not there right now. We'll
It's
be there.
July.
We'll be there next week, but
I think I've been
hot.
seeing like 31 degrees in Tokyo when I check the weather app.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
And people we've been talking to saying it's been extremely hot
this year.
year.
So I always just add it as another destination on my weather app, and then I kind of check it in the week leading up to a trip to see what it's looking like.
Driving to Shirakawa and Shinhotaka ropeway in early mid-April using a rental car. Should I request winter tires? Probably not. It probably won't be necessary. And if you needed them, the rental agency is going to tell you. Anyways, yeah. So they go an extra level to make sure about security. Okay, this is just an answer to somebody's question. Sorry. We'll just answer a couple more here.
IC cards are available again.
Yes, IC cards are widely available again. Hi, John. I'm allergic to nuts, soy, and dairy. How should I approach ordering meals?
So before your trip, I would go online and look for like Japanese food allergy cards. There's a lot that have already been prepared and written, and you can print them out. And so bring a card that says, I'm allergic to nuts. Bring a card that says, I'm allergic to soy. Bring a card that says, I'm allergic to dairy. And I would look ahead of time, like on Google Maps or Tabelog, and look up specific restaurants that really cater to allergen-free or like say dairy-free, because if you go to just a regular restaurant, it could be kind of hard to get accurate information and also for them to have an option available to you. So I kind of would do some research ahead of time. If you go places like chain restaurant diners or amusement parks, they generally have 1 or 2 low allergen meals, and so that meal won't have like the major top allergens in it. But other than that, I would try to look up restaurants ahead of time. Like we do gluten-free. We'll search for specifically gluten-free restaurants to look for. But yeah, definitely come prepared with some allergy cards so people know that it's an allergy.
Yes, and I also have a video that I made on a couple of lines that you can say if you have allergies as well. But still, regardless, the card is the best thing, is going to be your best friend. Yeah. All right, everyone. This has gone longer than we had time for. So unfortunately, we're going to have to cut it here. But we will try to have another live soon. We're trying to have these monthly. So thanks for joining us today. Thank you, everybody, for the very nice comments. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys watching. This is such an awesome community. So
if you still have questions, please go over to our KENSHOQUEST channel and see what's there already. We have tons about IC cards. We have tons about train transportation, weather. Watch our guide to Tokyo weather. We have packing lists. So chances are you will find the answer to your questions in one of our videos that we already have. And then if not, go ahead and comment on one of our videos. And this live will be recorded and available to watch on our channel. It just takes a while for the comments section to process on there.
All right.
So thank you.
Thanks again, everybody.
Have a great time in Japan.
Bye.